is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go, baby.
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break.
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
What's up, everybody? We're mixing it up here. A little pause there because this is Lindsay Draper sitting in the host chair with Nick Eatman and Dave Hellman.
I was like, did we discuss who was hosting?
You looked surprised by the sound of your own voice.
I just wanted to make sure your attention was there.
I'm here.
Now my volume's great, everything. What's up, guys?
What's up, my dude?
Yeah, we're having a fan segment this show, by the way. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
What the fans are going to call in?
I'm the boss. They're not going to call in. I've already got questions rolling in on Twitter. You can go to my tweet and reply there. Your boy Dave retweeted it as well. So we got lots of questions coming up. Do you guys want to go through really quick? I'm just going to hit on the news of the week. There's like 5-6 nuggets, and then we can discuss.
Whatever you want to do, host.
You good?
It's season 18 episode.
Season 18 episode, whatever Derek says.
175 or something. I don't know. Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. Newsy hits of the week. Cowboys awarded a 5th-round compensatory pick. Woohoo. They'll play in the Hall of Fame game on August 6th against the Steelers. Ed Werder reporting that he is thinking that Amari Cooper is going to get done soon and before Dak Prescott. John Machota and you commenting on the fact that Byron is going to get a monster deal.
Big time.
Big time deal. We'll discuss that. Tony Romo, guys, according to a fan, showed up for jury duty this week in Dallas and took photos with everyone there. And it was a quote unquote total sweetheart, even though he was not ultimately selected.
Of course he wasn't.
A Cowboys receiver, our boy Ventel Bryant, arrested on a DUI charge in Tampa. John Kitna hired as head coach in Burleson. It's outside of Fort Worth. So he went from high school, pro, back high school. And then we've had some changes in the schedule of the CBA and the tags and this and that.
Yeah, about 40 of them.
Where do we want to begin?
You offered us so many. And I think we should start with John Kitna getting a high school coach. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to talk about that at all.
It's very David.
Good luck to John. That's awesome. What was the first thing you said? There was something that
compensatory pick.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The league finally announced yesterday the Cowboys are going to get pick 179 in exchange for Cole Beasley. And can we just talk about I love to see it, and I hope the Cowboys do more of this, because if you rewind a year, they trade a 6th-round pick for Robert Quinn. They get 11.5 sacks out of him, and then they just get the pick back because Cole Beasley leaves in free agency. And so you lose your 6th and you immediately get it back based on how you operate in free agency. It's the way I've always wanted the Cowboys to operate, not necessarily spending big money, but being willing to commit resources to get guys that can actually help you. Like, there's a difference between, signing the bottom of the barrel free agents because you're unwilling to spend in free agency. I get that. You can still commit resources to it. And it's beautiful how well it worked out for the Cowboys. They got an 11.5 sack season out of Robert Quinn for basically nothing.
Yeah, and if you do it before the draft, at least like they did with Quinn, then because you do it on draft day, I mean, everybody in the room's got a guy that they want there in the 5th round. God, I hope we can take this guy. I hope we can take this guy. And then you trade for someone, and it doesn't ever seem to have the same luster. But if you do it a little bit beforehand and going in, we don't have that pick because we just got Robert Quinn, I think it's done differently. And so teams don't always want to do that. But yeah. I think that was, you're right, that was a huge get for them. We've seen it both ways. We've seen draft day when they got Tavon Austin, in the draft, or maybe Jalil Ward or Jahil Ward.
Oh, Lord.
What's his name? Or maybe
Jihad Ward.
But they've traded for him, right?
Yeah, it was a swap, Switzer for Ward. Marinelli liked him, and then they traded a 6th for Tavon Austin. You are right about that.
We are seeing more trades, though, and I like that.
I absolutely like it. I think teams are realizing that they're valuable, but they're not quite as valuable as people have tried to act like they are. It's a smart way to try to add talent to your team. But yeah, so they get it back. Cole Beasley. Nice season in Buffalo, 5th round pick.
A lot going on there. I didn't
You
know
guys-
some of those things.
Well, there is, it's a busy week, and next week is going to be even busier with all of the schedule change and this and that.
Yeah, that's that's where we should probably have started, because next week is going to be absolutely bonkers. And I'm sure people are tired of hearing about the CBA, and football fans, you don't follow football to read legalese. Like, I get that, but it's important and it's wild.
So Saturday night.
Well, the tag deadline was supposed to be tomorrow,
Yes.
Thursday, March 12th.
It is now.
The CBA is being voted on, and I think teams expressed their concerns, probably teams like the Cowboys and maybe the Titans, teams that have several free agents that they're worried about keeping. They're saying, so the tag deadline is Thursday.
Doesn't make sense.
The tag deadline's Thursday at 5, and we can tag 2 guys, but then you're going to vote on the CBA on Thursday night, or close the voting window, I should say. And then we'll find out if we have 1 or 2. Like, that seems like BS to me.
And then what happens if one of the tags gets rescinded?
You immediately have to, if the CBA is approved and you have 2 guys tagged, you immediately have to rescind one. And obviously, you would rescind the tag that you would put on Amari Cooper.
For transition.
The Cowboys have made it very clear they will tag Dak if they don't have a deal. That's priority 1, as it should be. So Amari Cooper could be tagged for 5 hours, and then they pull it, and he's headed for free agency. So I think enough teams expressed concern about this that they agreed to bump the voting window back. And then they responded to that by bumping the tag deadline back. So now the CBA will be decided on Saturday night,
11:59 p.m.
Which, thank God, because I was worried they were going to interrupt my St. Patrick's Day plans with the CBA vote. So thank you for that. So now the tag deadline is Monday at like 5, I think.
Yes. Well, mine says noon.
Okay, Monday afternoon. Sorry, I must have read the wrong thing. Either way, now you've got 48 hours to formulate a strategy based on what happens. I think
Yep.
we all probably agree that we think the CBA is going to pass.
Yeah.
And so
I think so. I think Jerry feels that way.
So the Cowboys will have, and you said Ed Werder. That's something that we've kind of heard around here too, is just that they are working furiously to get Amari Cooper signed.
Yeah.
Whether they do it, we'll see. But if he's not signed by Saturday, if the CBA passes, they'll have 48 hours to push for something before they can't tag him anymore. I think that's.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense? I think that's.
It all makes total sense. You've explained it great. For as much as they've switched it up on us, I mean, this has been from Indy. We were talking with Steven about these dates and deadlines, and they've continued to change.
It reminds me of the Zeke suspension appeals.
David,
it's just
don't
go
back.
I hope this makes sense, because I'm not a lawyer, and reading the CBA makes my eyes glaze over, honestly. But that's where we stand.
That's where we stand.
Where we stand.
Schedule happening. So now I want to know, what do you guys what do you think is going to happen? I mean, those are the main questions. What are we doing with Dak? Do you think Dak is going to wait and see and kind of Amari, Byron, is it Robert Quinn? Is he in the mix at all? What is going to happen with this?
All right. I think if you just had to guess, I mean, I do think that the Cooper deal will be done. They're not even going to mess with a transition tag. I bet they don't ever have to do that. And
That'd be nice.
I think Dak will get tagged. I just don't think they're going to get done on that.
Yeah, I think there's too much at stake there. And honestly, at this point, Dak probably wants them to force their hand, right? He's like, use the tag. Like, if we're not going to get it done anyway, and you're going to tag me, then do it. Like, because
I'll wait it out.
Theoretically, if you could let him hit free agency, and it would be a bonanza, and the Cowboys aren't going to do that. So I don't see that happening by Monday afternoon. Yeah. But Amari, I could. But I agree with you. But so it's Wednesday right now. Mm-hmm. So that gives. I mean, you got about 5 days to get something done. Are we looking like a weekend deal? You think, or?
I think, I think that they've probably got the parameters of it almost ready to go. They just want to see, how if there's going to be any big shakeups there.
Well, and maybe they're waiting for the CBA vote. I mean, maybe that's a situation where the CBA passes late Saturday night, and like Sunday morning, they're like, all right, we know what we're working with. We can put pen to paper on this thing.
My question about Robert Quinn is, are they going to let him go to free agency and see? I think at this point, his agent probably will want to do that. I just wonder if free agent period opens up on March 18th. Is he going to be available for a little bit? And is somebody going to throw some money out there at him, or are they going to try to get him locked up before he ever gets there?
I think that's a situation where even if he hits, and you can never fully predict what another. I mean, if another team just comes in with this crazy offer, but he's 30. I think he liked it here. I think he likes the culture and living in Dallas. Like, he just seemed like a natural fit.
Were you sitting at lunch yesterday when he was there? No, he came in and he was high-fiving some people, and it was like, first thought was like, hey, this is good. Like, he looks like he's coming back, and then somebody else said, or he could be saying goodbye, and it was like, oh yeah. So
there's so much reading between the lines going on right now, especially at lunch. It's like, who is talking to who? Do you look happy? Do you look like, are you getting a lot of food? Like, this might be your last trip here.
Which, I mean, guys that have their future up in the air, you don't see them around the building typically. And I'm talking about years of experience doing this. Like, if your contract's running out and you might be going somewhere else, like I haven't seen Dak since the season ended. Have you?
Right.
I haven't seen Cooper.
But why have we apparently seen? I have not seen Byron. Did you see him yesterday?
I have not seen Byron.
We've heard some people in our cube area say they've seen Byron a lot at breakfast.
I have
yet to see him, but I'm just throwing it out there.
If he's around, he's keeping a low profile, which makes sense. So my point is, like, I don't know, if Robert Quinn's hanging out at lunch, I think he really likes it here, and I think he's made his money. Like, he's done a huge contract. You know, he was an All-Pro when he was with the Rams, and I just think if the Cowboys make him a reasonable offer, I think he would prefer to be here. That's one of those things where it's like, you might hit free agency, but we feel good about our odds of keeping him.
And this is how. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I was just saying, for anybody, if you just by being here, you still have to clean out your locker. I mean, if it's like, oh, well, he's here. Well, I mean, he's got stuff here. And that doesn't mean he's going to be here. I mean, I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I just mean that, I saw him today. Well, he said bye.
Producer Beam, do we trust him? He says he saw Byron at breakfast.
Is that
For whatever
right?
it's worth, said he saw him. But this is a perfect example of something I'm sure you guys already talked about with Ron Leary, on Twitter, kind of airing his laundry out.
You want to throw that in the news bin, too?
Was it not discussed last week? I'm trying to remember what day we saw that. So Ron Leary's tweeting with everyone, the Dallas media, saying, yeah, man, I could, still got my house in Dallas. I could come back. And I feel like that's how.
You got belts there?
Oh, come on.
What?
Come on.
Fair question. I like Leary a lot. I like him at left guard. I think he'd be better than what they have right now.
I do too, but at what price? That's always the thing with free agency.
4 years, 19. I don't know.
I'm just.
You're right.
I mean, if you got to pay the quarterback, you got to pay the receiver. Hopefully, you're going to pay Quinn. Hopefully, you're going to make some additions on the defense so that you're not holding this thing with duct tape. And when all that's said and done, can you afford to pay like good veteran money to a guard?
No, you can't.
You got two left guards on rookie deals.
You can't do that. And they have the same name, and you got to see what they can do. Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, you got to see what they can do. I would bring back Joe Looney. I think that would be a fair.
Or I don't know if Ron Leary has devalued to the point where I could get him for backup money. Maybe compete and be a backup guard, but I don't think that's true. I think he can sign to be a starter somewhere.
Yeah.
30 years old.
Yeah, but offensive line, you can play into your 30s on the offensive line.
Boy, a lot of teams that had him off the board because of his knee, and I mean Jerry was so excited when they got him because he thought that was just going to be a great move, and it was. I mean,
that dude won. I mean, he's still playing. What he was undrafted in 2012, I think.
But it sounds like things aren't going to continue in Denver. So come on home, Larry. That's my point. Is all these guys go on other places and they all keep their houses in Dallas.
There's different reasons for that.
I mean,
sure.
There's no state income tax and the weather's great.
Lovely.
Why wouldn't you want to keep a house
Weather's great,
here?
David.
The weather is great compared to.
Do you love melting?
Compared
alive
to a lot of places where you could be.
Weather.
Dallas weather's fantastic.
Sure.
So, what else you got? What else is over there?
We got a lot of stuff.
Let's
Should we take our first break?
Fine.
Let's take our first break. When we come back, guys, it is the long-awaited fan segment. Coming up next on Cowboys Break.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS One score September 2019.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their deal score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this...
Hey, blue 20!
Download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Back to the break.
We're back here on the break, continuing from the SWBC Mortgage Studio. Derek traveling today. Lindsay Draper in with Nick and Dave. And it is the fan segment because our fans are the best. They've got questions.
What a suck up.
They've got pressing questions. David, nobody interacts with our fans more than you.
No,
you love them to death.
I love our fans. You're just
say it.
You're just I do. You're just sucking up to them though.
I'm not sucking up.
It's fine. I love you guys. You know I love you.
There you go. He doesn't know how to show his love all the time, but we have to work with him.
I don't do emotions very well.
Who are some, from Daniel, who are some non-Cowboys free agents that maybe might have some ties to anyone on the new staff that you could see them kind of targeting or wanting to bring in?
Tampering, no thanks.
Okay. Is it?
No.
Thank you.
Not really.
I mean, well, this is boring, but right off the bat, like I just feel it in my soul that Randall Kopp will be back here again, unless somebody blows him away with a crazy offer. But again, I think he likes it here. He has a relationship with Mike McCarthy. He played well last year.
McCarthy brought it up, right?
Like the day he signed his contract, Mike McCarthy brought it
Love
up.
And
to
then have
again,
back.
again at the combine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's happening. What was the question though? Non-Cowboys?
Sure. Yeah. Any other non-Cowboys
Other
free
players?
agents?
There's it feels reckless, but you just like try to connecting dots. I mean, Mike McCarthy drafted Clinton Dix. The Cowboys could use a safety. I believe he was there when the Packers drafted Demarius Randall too. Guys that have they've both had their ups and downs. They've had big contracts. They've fallen out of favor in places. I think they've both been cut before. Mm-hmm. So, not guys that are going to just absolutely light the fan base on fire, but there are players McCarthy has history with. Mike Nolan's coached everywhere. So yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys out there. My thing is just make it make sense financially.
That's line one of everything right now,
And
which is it almost feels impossible.
I know it's annoying, but it's true. I mean, I gotta see him. Like Derek brings up Chris Harris every time we do the show, and I would be really excited about that. But that just sounds like a fat stack of cash for.
The pie has gotten smaller.
What is? And I'm not implying anything here. What is the status of Hunter Henry? I saw him on the free agent list. Is he
the Chargers guy?
Is he going to be like franchise tag? Or, I don't know.
Put me on the spot.
Sorry,
him.
I didn't know.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I saw something about him.
Because I mean, he's not going to hit free agency. I wouldn't think. He's going to be a guy that's going to be out there. But if he is, I could see the Cowboys being interested there. I just don't know his status.
Because he's a good tight end or because where he went to school?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because and really,
I mean, he is a good tight end. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck.
I mean, it's not like they just bring in every Razorback that's ever been here, but but is it not a position of need?
It is.
I mean, it's a position of need, and he's a second round pick, and I just don't know what they're doing with him.
It doesn't look as though it's a guarantee he's getting tagged. So
I don't know. That'll be interesting to me.
Juggling so much right now.
I think that would be a hefty price tag too.
Definitely.
But I keep going back to I have no inside knowledge, but like I don't think the Cowboys have a choice but to spend at least a little bit of money.
Yeah,
like
they're going to do
there's
some stuff.
Too many. Like not. I mean, it's not like they need depth. Like they are missing starters, like 6 of them on defense, and you can't replace all of that again with like the bargain bin. Like we brought in Stephen Paya on like a $1.5 million deal. Like no way, that's not good enough to address the holes you have. So. I don't know if they're going to be willing to drop money on a Chris Harris or a Hunter Henry, but I think they have to be willing to spend more money than they have been in recent years.
I agree.
A lot of questions on both Twitter and Periscope about Ron Leary. We'll give it to Alex. If Connor can't take the next step, is Ron Leary the answer? Is it realistic to think that he may end up here?
I think it's realistic, but like Dave just said, you've got 2 young guards right now, and you can't pay everybody. And I think you drafted them, and not just young guards, but guys you drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I think I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't see that happening unless just a sweetheart deal just falls in your lap.
If it's just too insanely cheap to pass up, maybe, but. You have the 2 Connors, and again, you need multiple defensive tackles. You need a safety. You need multiple cornerbacks. You need to bring back Robert Quinn. The Dak and Amari deals go without saying. Like it's a lot of money that needs to be spent to also be signing a veteran guard.
Here's how that does work. And we don't know this from what the offensive line meetings and offensive meetings, but like if they say that Connor Williams is a tackle, maybe they like him as a swing tackle, and Connor McGovern is a guy that it can play some guard and maybe some center. So then
McGovern can play some center too.
So Joe Looney, maybe he's not re-signed. That's where I believe that Ron Leary could be a guy that plays, that comes in and plays at left guard. And I could see that scenario, but if they're still viewing Connor Williams as a guard, then I don't really see a big, signing there.
Which is something we don't really know at this point with 23 new coaches.
I just wrote a story on Connor Williams. I don't know where he's going to play, what he's going to do, but he is rehabbing from an ACL injury.
He's been here every day of the offseason.
He's going to be, I think he's going to be good to go when training camp starts, which is going to be a week earlier than we thought now. Gentlemen.
Sure is.
Yeah, I guess we didn't touch it on the first segment. Well, you've probably got more fan questions.
We've got so many. Should we even ask the Des one?
I love California. It's awesome. Keep going.
Should we even ask the Des question?
No.
You tired of it?
Well, we did like a whole segment on it last week. I mean, I don't see it.
Not happening.
I'm a big Des fan. I hope he gets a shot in the NFL. I don't see it here. I don't see the fit.
You don't like the laying down on the ground catching the ball?
He seems to be working very diligently.
What's that, Rob?
More about.
It's about hand strength, Nick.
I don't like you.
It was very impressive. I am wondering why they cut it off there at the very end, though. There was one.
I haven't even seen the video you're talking about, but
Beam on headset right now said we want to see you do it, so maybe we could try that. For a segment, throw it on the break next week.
No,
outside, in the middle of DeMarcus and Leighton working out.
It is wonderful, but I mean, it was very impressive. But for a guy that has question marks on running routes, I mean, that's not what. We don't need to see you catch the ball. I need to see you run over someone, run by them, catch over them, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, Cam, though, what are your thoughts on trying to get Bryce Butler back? I haven't. Gosh, I've been ready to ask this one to you, Dave.
Is that a thing?
Why?
This is the fan segment, so what they ask goes.
Again, if there's not a spot for Des Bryant, why is there a spot for Bryce Butler? No. I don't get why. Like the Cowboys have underachieved relative to the expectations for most of the last 5 years. So why are we trying to do this reunion with all these guys that were on those teams? I don't 5 years later too. You know what I mean?
Was out of the league all last year, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, let's assume Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Randall Cobb are all here. Throw in a draft pick. And and John Vay Johnson's still kicking around, and like all those guys are just like, where?
Why not Ventel Bryant?
I mean, he might be too. Honestly, I mean,
I don't know what's going to deal.
It's too soon to say that. I mean, I don't know if they'll outright cut him. I guess we'll have to see what happens with his arrest. But either way, you got your top 3. You can draft a guy. What's the fit for these veteran receivers who, again, like don't have a versatile role in special teams, all that type of stuff?
Right.
I don't see it.
Don't see it.
Our friend Wayne wants to know if the fact that we're still looking at a Dak and an Amari deal not done, and then Byron getting away, what do you guys chalk that up to? He says, is it poor management, or how do you get to this point?
That's a really good question, and like hindsight is super 2020. But if you're a big fan of Byron Jones, I totally understand where you're coming from. Where it's like, well. Maybe they what?
Your face says it all.
And they're just like, maybe they jumped the gun on signing some of these other contracts. I mean, Jalen Smith comes to mind is like, well, and it's hard to say because like Jalen came to them. They got a discount on him relative to where he was at that point. But, he had a disappointing season. And I get why people are like, man, that money could go toward Byron Jones and we'd feel a hell of a lot better about it right now. The Zeke deal is another one. I'm not ready. I know there's a huge argument about like the relative value of running backs. I'm not ready to hate on that deal yet because the Cowboys can get out of it after a relatively short amount of time. And by the way, Zeke is awesome. So I'm not ready to hate on that deal. But, they signed 3 contracts in the summer and also for whatever reason, 4? What was the 4th one? Lyle, Jalen,
D-Law.
Lyle was so quiet. That's
I guess
right.
Tank was technically the spring, but you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Either way.
I was thinking in the offseason. That's one that was...
I'm not ready to hate on the Tank deal either. I think Tank's awesome.
Saw him out here yesterday.
Yeah. No, he's been back for at least probably 2 weeks. Like, I've seen him around for most of the offseason.
I don't know if it's just mismanagement with Byron Jones. I just don't think it's going to be their preference.
Do you think they decided that a while back? Like, hey, we love this guy, but looking at what we have in the future, we're not going to.
This reminds me a little bit. I think I told you yesterday about DeMarco Murray. Had a really great year in 2014, and they were interested in 2015. They just kind of had a ceiling. They just said, "This is where we're going to be with you if you can get more than that," and he did. And as it turned out, it probably. The Cowboys were right on that one because he really didn't have, great years after that. But, I just wonder if they're like, we like Byron Jones, but we for the money he's probably going to get, we want more than that. We want interceptions. We want, pass deflections.
I was arguing with people about this on Twitter this morning. It's going to be fascinating because that's clearly part of it. Like, it's not just like they didn't allocate their money the right way. Like, they haven't made him a priority this whole time. Like, they didn't pick up his option until Chris Richard stepped in and was like, no, this guy can play corner. And they, he's been the forgotten child this whole time. Like, when you talk contracts, his name has never come up.
How frustrating will it be, or just disappointing or sad when he goes somewhere else?
Absolutely.
Flourishes and does who knows what. And then you wonder with maybe a different staff here, like what could have been.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't get picks, and that's a big reason of why he won't be re-signed here, it sounds like. And I just wondered, we talked about it last week, like he gave up the second fewest passing yards of anybody that was targeted 50 or more times. Like, he is a reliable cover corner. As was Brandon Carr, but he got beat up in this scheme. He went to Baltimore after having 1 pick in 3 seasons and had 4 in his first year with the Ravens. I don't know if that's going to happen with Byron, but it's going to create a hell of a dialogue if that is the case.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't, I don't imagine, like with his athleticism and his professionalism, I can't imagine that he'll go somewhere and just fall off a cliff. Like, he will be a productive cover corner.
He's too athletic.
Yeah, and I think that's what this debate is all about, is like, he might not get picks, but this guy can handle his side of the field for 6 years easy, probably. Like, I don't see him falling off.
And it's just
at least for 4 or 5 years
with everyone else they have right now that he can't have a career here.
It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out.
I wonder if any team out there is looking at him as a safety.
I got some mailbag questions about that this offseason.
I can't imagine that they are. He's been so good as a boundary corner. I mean, and again, I know he doesn't get picks, but 350 yards last year. That's what he gave up in coverage in 16 games.
The thing about it is what has killed the Cowboys in the passing game so many times. It just seems like the tight end just kills them.
Yeah.
And if you can get in a situation where, if you have a really strong coverage from your safety position, you can put him on a tight end and you wouldn't feel as bad in some of those mismatches. But, I mean, then you're also talking about what happens when the running back gets in the clear, and is he the guy that's going to bring him down? I mean, I think he's a willing tackler.
He is.
He's not, he's not the best, but I mean, as a corner, he's pretty good. So I just wonder if there's anybody thinking that route for him. Doubt it, though. His agent's probably not going that way because you get more money, obviously, as a corner. So
another question from our buddy Larry, switching gears a little bit here. We got OTAs coming up. We're going to have how many guys in the locker room? A ton. Who is your most just fun guy to talk to, most comical guy in the locker room that you love to just chat with?
Joe Looney.
Lewis.
Oh, damn.
You said Jordan Lewis?
No, I said Joe Looney.
Same initials.
Jordan's a good one, too.
Jordan was my pick. He will talk. I mean, you come up to him, he'll chat about it.
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
Because he doesn't think he is. Mm-hmm. Joe Looney is trying to be funny, and he is. I mean, it's just he's just the way his delivery is. But like Jordan Lewis, he's just like, what? It is. It's just like
great Twitter follow too.
The best Twitter follow.
The best Twitter follow.
Yeah.
He will beef with anyone. He's got time. Every day.
Shout out my guy Xavier Suafilo too.
Yeah.
We'll see. This question's bumming me out because 2 of the 3 we named might not be here in a month. But he's just a super chill, cool, fun guy to talk to. He's always got good music playing on his Beats pill.
Always.
Yeah. And he's not afraid to play whatever. Like, I mean, he'll throw some
Bob Marley,
George Strait.
He's got some reggae. He's got some country. He'll play some hip hop.
Yeah.
He's got it all. So good for him. Shout out Xavier.
Shout out Xavier. All right, when we come back, we're going to take another break. I want to talk about the draft process. We won't take Dave's draft show conversations, but how is it going to look with the scouts and a whole new coaching staff? I just want to hear the dynamic of what you think that will be next on Cowboys Break.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their deal score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this...
Ready? Blue 20!
Download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Back to the break.
Do you think you have what it takes to be a pro, Dave?
Yep.
Do you know of a DFW first responder, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Okay. The Dallas Cowboys and Caliber Collision are hosting the 4th annual Heroes Day prelims on March 20th at AT&T Stadium. All DFW first responders who sign up will have a chance to compete in NFL-style combine drills for the chance to announce a Cowboys pick in the draft. Let's say that again. You have a chance to announce the Cowboys pick
Let's go.
in the NFL draft. To
That sounds
register
awesome.
today, visit calibercollision.com/Heroes Day
From the
Combine.
war room, I'm hearing. That's going to be legit.
Yeah. Because then if you're doing it right, you can also listen and see what's going on. You look like you're nervous because you're like trying to get your lines, but really you're hearing this trade talk over here.
Everything.
That could be
You're
cool.
where everyone wants to be.
Sign
How
up.
cool would it be if you announced a pick and it was like a guy who went on to be great? And, when we make the Deep Blue about it in 20 years, like, you'll be on the Deep Blue.
You'll be like, that's me.
Oh, geez.
You'll
Yeah,
be
that's
here.
scary.
Oh, yes.
That's all right. In 5 years, when we make the Deep Blue, like, I don't know.
We as in all of us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of us.
Cool.
All of us.
Awesome.
You got that, Derek? Okay, cool. Now we're going to talk about the draft because Dave and I had an interesting lunch conversation yesterday. We just talked about the turnover of the coaching staff and the dynamic of the draft. These scouts start looking at these players, a year ago. And now's the time when, OU's pro day is today. So coaches are probably going out and looking. How is it going to work with the dynamic of Will McClay and maybe, Mike Nolan going at it instead of Rod Marinelli? I mean, we talked about Marinelli getting Taco and Tristan Hill, guys that he really wanted. But how? Look, can we just discuss it all? I'm not being mean. It's the history and the truth.
The only 2 defensive linemen that he got.
I heard those were guys
What
that
about-
he fell in love
He
with.
liked Malik Collins.
I like Malik Collins.
Oh, I'm just saying. I don't think. Okay, I don't think.
Will Malik be back?
Probably not, if I had to guess.
Darn.
This is what I hope doesn't happen. Is there was an argument, not an argument, but it was just a difference of opinion in the draft of last year for Juan Thornhill, the safety. Chris Richard said this. Rod Marinelli said this. Next thing you know, that they take Tristan Hill. What I hope is that there's more scouts talk there.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are
Yep.
evaluating these. It's cool to have a preference, and maybe that's what happened. Maybe they were split down the middle, and they said, "Hey, let's just go to the guys that are coaching them." I'm not sure, but I just think that the scouts, need to have a little bit more, especially if what McCarthy's saying is true. I just want good football players. Then the scouts are the ones that say, "This guy's a great football player. We have a need for him. Let's put him in."
For my money, it's the most interesting storyline with the Cowboys because we got, this year at least, because we got so used to the way things were. And we've talked about this. And
I'll take whether the quarterback is going to be here or not.
okay, well, but it's not a story. He will be here. He will be here. Jason Garrett, which I thought was cool. Jason Garrett wanted his staff to be involved in the draft process. And like he would, guys would go out, work people out, develop their own opinions about these guys, be very involved. And yes, we can harp on Taco and Tristan, and it was very frustrating because, if you follow the draft show or if you follow the draft every year, right around, not quite now, but in about 2-3 weeks when the 30 visits start happening and really there's nothing left but the draft, you could just sense this narrative change. Like that, that's when Tristan Hill goes from like, oh yeah, like he's a pretty good player that you might draft in the 4th round to being like, oh, they're gunning for this guy with their first pick. Like that, and it happened every year, and sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. To that point, Scott Linehan fell in love with Dak Prescott when he went out to Starkville to work him out after the Combine. So it worked in good ways and bad ways. But I'm curious about how Mike McCarthy approaches it. How much does he involve his coaching staff? How loud of a voice do they have? Because he did say, he just wants the best football players regardless, but he also said he expects he'll be more involved in the draft and free agency than he ever was in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. I thought Garrett.
What does that mean?
I thought Garrett and his staff were too meddlesome at times. Like the scouts literally spend their lives figuring out who's good. And it seems counterintuitive to have a bunch of football coaches who've been working with a completely different set of players for 11 months, jump in, watch 3 weeks worth of tape, go to a couple workouts and say, this is the guy.
We love him.
It's counterintuitive. And that doesn't mean coaches can't have a voice, but I hope Will and his guys really lead the charge on developing or finding talent under Mike McCarthy. But it's fascinating because we don't know yet. We don't know what that's going to look like. But hopefully we will start to find that out in the next few weeks.
And on one hand, I'm like, well, maybe the coaches do need to be a little bit more involved because the scouts don't have a great idea of the type of guy that they're looking for. But then again, you go back to, well, if he said all along, I just give me the best player, and we will make our scheme fit into that. And, if that truly is the case, then this shouldn't be that hard. Get in there in third, fourth, fifth rounds and say, yeah, let's be fair. This is what they did last year, too. It's not like they didn't do this last year. They were in the third round. They didn't need a guard. They'd already taken Connor Williams, but this guy was still sitting there from the second round to the third, and they said, wait a second now. Connor McGovern is a guy we have rated here. We didn't go into this day thinking we were going to take a guard. So let's just remember this, that they do that before, and I think they'll continue to do that.
They've done it. It seems like when it's close, they've deferred toward need, which compromises your board. Like, I think I don't know this, but I just think like Juan Thornhill was a better pure prospect than Tristan Hill.
See, I don't have a problem with that though. Not the Thornhill thing. I don't have a problem with when it's close. I lean towards the need. I've always thought best available player is inaccurate, and I think it's best available need. I've always said best available need is more important.
What if it's not close?
Well,
you still do it.
I mean, if it's not close, then I would go with the higher ranked player. But don't throw a quarterback out there who's not going to play. I mean, it's got to be a guy that's going to help me. I don't want a quarterback that was supposed to be in the top 5 that falls to 17.
What about a defensive tackle that doesn't help you?
Well, I mean, he didn't help you because he can't play.
That's my point.
That's why he's not ready to play. He wasn't mature enough to play. Wasn't doing all the things he needed to do. He wasn't ready yet, and he might turn into a good player. But what I'm saying is that there's not a package that has 2 quarterbacks out there unless you're going to do what the Saints are doing. But it's not worth a first round pick. I'm just saying, don't tell me best available. If they have Justin Herbert rated as the number 4 player and he's sitting there at 17, I don't think you take him. And neither do you, right?
No, not. But that's an extreme example.
Okay.
And it's just,
Yeah.
And Tristan Hill's career's not over. He could still be a great player. But
let's talk about
Juan Thornhill was awesome for the Chiefs before he got hurt.
Who's the 6th best quarterback in the draft? Not to put you on the spot. Just give me a guy that could be a second-round quarterback. Is there one?
Jacob Eason out of Washington.
Okay.
He might even go first.
Perfect.
Because he's got so much talent.
Perfect. What if he's sitting in the second round? You got Dak signed, second round.
No, I'm not doing it. And I'm using his availability to try to get somebody to trade up for him. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and Jerry's definitely done that. But best available player, best available need. I mean, the good thing is that you need everything. Everything.
Yeah. No, it's true.
You don't probably need a running back, but that's about it.
That is the one position that I can't make a case for the Cowboys drafting. Maybe guard.
Receiver could happen in the first round. Tight end could happen if there was one there. I don't think there will, but they definitely would want one to be there. Offensive tackle.
Doable.
Yeah, because of those injuries. I mean, just because they're getting up there. Guard.
No, I don't think guard. Guard and running back are like the 2.
Guard.
Center.
Guard. Interior lineman. I think of it all the same. Guard, center, whatever.
What would Cowboys fans do if they drafted a guard or center in the first round?
Riot.
I would riot.
I would riot too. I would be very upset.
Would you guys riot with me?
I mean, unless something unforeseen is going on with Travis or somebody else. I don't say that to speculate. I'm just saying there better be a damn good reason why you're drafting a guard in the first round. So, yeah, I would be upset.
But anything on that defensive side?
Anything.
Linebacker?
No, see, there's some debate about that.
There's some good ones?
Right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
How do we feel about Leighton at this point?
It's weird. Like, there's conflicting information out there.
TV star. I saw a commercial with him in there.
He did a commercial in Idaho.
Yes, he did.
Buckle up.
The Cowboys camp, and I've heard, and Leighton himself, obviously the player's going to bet on himself, but it sounds like there's no concern whatsoever on the Cowboys / Leighton side of things that he'll be ready for training camp. But then, rumors persist from one source or another that they don't feel great about him, and maybe you want to draft a linebacker early to help bolster yourself there. First round would be way too high for me.
Yeah.
I need more evidence that he can't stay healthy before I'm willing to do that. Like,
but I would definitely be ready for the second round if there was a good value then.
Second or third round. Again, I mean, that right there puts what we're talking about to the test. If there's a linebacker there that's just so much better than what you need next, I would hope they pull the trigger.
Yeah.
What would that do? Where do we think Jalen's going this next year?
You know, I think that one of the top priorities that Mike Nolan has as his defensive coordinator is to figure out where to play Jalen Smith. I mean, if what you're saying is true about we're going to put the scheme around what we've got, then they've got to figure out a best way to put him out there where he's not covering a lot of receivers or tight ends or anything. And you don't put him in coverage a lot, and he needs to go north. He needs to go forward, get after the quarterback, and maybe a little bit more of a rusher. But I think that everyone can make their jokes on the swiping and the tweets and all that because he does them. But he is a good football player. They got to figure out ways that they can utilize him.
Yeah, I wrote about Jalen yesterday for our we're previewing, just kind of recapping the season that everybody had, and Jalen Smith is a weird case.
Was that a tough one to write?
Yeah, it was really tough to write
because Connor Williams was tough.
He's a Pro Bowler who had a bad season and is arguably, like, if you were going to rank like the players who draw the ire of the media and the fans the most, he's probably it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak is always going to be a lightning rod because he's a quarterback, but like nobody's happy with what Jalen did, except for maybe Jalen. Like everybody, I mean, he went to the Pro Bowl and took a step back. I think everybody would agree with that. But at the same time, he's not even 25 yet. He's been a 3-year starter for you. He's got 400 tackles in 3 seasons. Like, he is an athletic and a talented football player. And like I mentioned earlier, like people are maybe upset that he got his big contract, but again, just like Leighton, I think it's way too early to close the book on him being a much better player. And Mike Nolan's been coaching defense in the NFL for a long time. I'm optimistic that he can bring the most out of him for sure.
Yeah.
I love the energy of this coaching staff. I mean, we barely really see them all together. It's mostly at lunch, but everybody is so energized. And I've kind of explained to people it's like freshmen in college because they're all new. They're all kind of around each other for the first time, and they're kind of, open to making friends and meeting people and talking in line. And it's a very good energy around here.
I don't know if it's going to translate. Like, I don't know how good the Cowboys will be in 20. Like, we don't even know who's on the team. Right. But you can already feel that the change of message and personnel has been a breath of fresh air. Like, it just feels different. We're talking, the Cowboys are going to play in the Hall of Fame game. We don't know how they're going to handle that in the sense of like what the schedule's going to look like and how Mike wants to practice. And it's new and exciting because if Jason Garrett was still here, we'd be like, okay, well, exactly, we can lay this thing out from July until December. Like, we know exactly how it'll go. So couple that with the fact that half the roster is going to be new, or a third of the roster is going to be brand new. I just think I think there's high potential for good energy on this team.
I will say this: two contracts that they did pick up this week were very, Jason Garrett like
Adam Redmond and Jameis.
I would thought both of those guys. I was just kind of surprised. It seemed like guys that would fit that last scheme and the last offense and all that. And they were around and brought them back and all that. I was kind of surprised that they did that. But
I've been hurt before, but the fact that a brand new coaching staff, like, they had to pick up an option to bring Jameis Olawale back. Like, so they could have been like, no, this isn't our guy. The fact that a brand new coaching staff brought him back has me so excited because Kellen Moore, I believe this in my heart. Like, Kellen Moore wanted to use him more last year. Like, he was so involved in OTAs and mini camp and training camp. He's doing all this wild stuff. And I swear to God, go back and watch the season opener against the Giants. He was doing wild stuff there too. Like, he was out on the field. He was running wheel routes. He was a functioning part of the offense. And I just think Jason Garrett was like, this is too fun. Rein it in. Get this out of here. Go back to what we like. And
0 catches last year.
Kellen Moore, I believe that Kellen wants Jameis to thrive. And like I said, I've been hurt before, but I'm excited that maybe this is the year. Please don't break my heart
Please
again.
don't break my heart. No, I think the fact what you just said though proves that there's something there.
That's it. Mike McCarthy loves using fullbacks. Green Bay was famous for it. John Kuhn, and they had a couple other ones when he was there whose names don't come to mind. And if they didn't want him here, they just would have not picked up his option, and they could have gotten somebody else.
But those are a little different type of fullbacks.
They are.
I wonder if there is
They absolutely
there's some
are.
role there that's going to be different for him or just a different guy.
Find my guy something to do. He's an athletic.
Find my guy something.
He is an athletic football player.
He's one. I think he has the 4th or 5th fastest 40 on the team.
Seriously. He scored an 80-yard touchdown when he was in
This is
Oakland.
one of those things, like I said with
220.
Byron earlier, if you see crazy stuff happen with him with a new staff, you're going to be like rubbing your temples.
Yeah.
Like, where
Or your
have
eyebrows
we
in my
been
case.
going
True.
with this? Dave will be all over the eyebrows in the press box. Get my guy something to do.
And he'll be a core special teamer too, and John Fossil, that's big for him.
Yeah.
So I was happy when I saw that they picked that option up.
Was everyone else on Twitter?
Oh no. Anything. I mean,
that's what sucks about it. It's like, do we just not write about it, or do you just say, "I'm sorry"? I mean, I'm sorry.
Your boy took it a step further and said the Cowboys made their first free agency signing with Adam Redmond.
It was too funny not to do.
Too funny not to do it.
It's fine. It's free agency's not even open yet, so that doesn't even people
The
were
craze hasn't started.
people were coming at us on Twitter because they were like, "Oh, it looks like your Anthony Brown prediction's wrong." And I'm like, "No, that's totally different. Like free agency hasn't even opened. It's not the same."
Yeah.
It's been fun, guys.
Is it over already?
It's been real.
Damn.
It's been fun.
You don't want to do the full hour?
Take it over, David.
No.
I thought we were going all the way to noon. Are we not?
We can. I mean, your
What
girl's
else?
hungry, but let's do it.
we touched on it, but I'm intrigued to see. I'm going to fight through this. I think Jimmy Johnson's going into the Hall of Fame, but I think a big part of the reason the Cowboys are going to Canton is Mike McCarthy wants that extra time in Oxnard.
Yeah.
Like that's 2 extra weeks of practice. And I feel like every time he talks about how concerned he is with like making sure they can hit the ground running. Where I'm like, man, the offense is. You said the offense isn't going to change that much, but it sounds like he's concerned about. So I don't know how much I buy that if you're that worried about it, but it's 2 extra weeks for them to get everything together. So I think that's exciting that they'll have a little bit more time to gel.
I think he probably went out there and said, "All right, we'll see. Yeah, we'll go out for a couple weeks," and steps off the plane like everyone does and says,
This is unreal.
"Oh, I like it like this." Is it like this in July? Yeah, just like this. Well, maybe not just like this. A little bit warmer, but for the most part, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, we can do 3 weeks here.
Oh yeah, 3 weeks here. Okay, grass fields.
You said he's
sunny?
visiting.
Yeah,
think he did.
I think he already went to just kind of get the lay of the land, and that's again, it's exciting for me that the head coach doesn't know what the facility in Oxnard looks like, whereas Jason Garrett freaking could walk around that place blindfolded by now. You know what I mean? So
What will be different about training camp? There will be a lot if the CBA is different.
Fewer padded practices, which again, so you probably want the extra 2 weeks because 2 weeks under the new CBA is probably only like 5 padded practices or something crazy like that.
Fewer padded practices.
Yeah, I think it would drop from like 26 to 18, I think.
More days off.
Yeah, but that just means that's when Dak will sign. No, he can't do that this year.
Can't sign.
They have to either get it done by July or not at all. So that's fun.
Where will you be vacationing
Yeah.
in July when this goes down?
Hopefully, I'll be on a beach, and I can just text Nick and Rob and say,
Have fun.
"Thank you."
Is that when we think this is going to happen?
I don't know.
Very end?
I have no idea.
A new deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got Tank done on April 8th, but Tank also had
No, you're right.
He had the shoulder holding over their head.
He had the leverage of needing to have a surgery.
No, it'll happen sooner than you think because I don't think Dak's going to show up.
That is true. Dak does have the leverage of saying, "I don't have to come," and I think that matters a lot.
And then
to Mike
what you
McCarthy.
just said about this new offense that is going to be different. It's like
We need you here, buddy.
right.
I can't.
Who's the backup?
April 6th.
I can't imagine. Yeah,
Cooper Rush is not running this thing.
I don't know if he'll be back. I don't know.
There was some smoke coming out of Indy that they want to pick up his tender. Him and Blake Jarwin both, but they haven't done it yet. So that's something to watch.
That's original draft tender, which he wasn't drafted. You're not doing a second round tender on him, are you?
I don't know. You might have to. I think they want to put a second round tender on Blake, which makes sense.
Fine with that, because he's actually played football in the NFL.
Actually, Cooper Rush has gotten into a surprising amount of games. He has. Yeah, I mean,
that's 2 games.
He's been in like 2 or 3, maybe 4, just because like the Cowboys were beating whoever's butt so bad.
How many passes has he thrown?
Oh, like 1.
1.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about handing off. But
I think it's 1 pass for like 5 yards.
It's very rare to see a backup quarterback come in when it's not because of injury.
Yeah.
And Cooper Rush has done it a handful of times because the Cowboys have blown people out. That's all I'm saying.
A lot of offseason questions about potentially picking up a different quarterback as well for your backup.
Yeah, I brought that up. Brett Hundley. I don't know if Mike McCarthy likes him anymore, but he drafted him. I'm curious because I was sitting here thinking McCarthy will want his own guy, and then we went to Indy, and the talk was kind of that they want to pick up the.
What round did he draft Hundley? Second round?
Second or third, I think. I get Hundley and Deshaun Kaiser mixed up.
That's interesting when you think about it. Now, we were just talking about best player and all that stuff I talked about. I threw the quarterback stuff out there.
Fifth round.
For Brett Hundley? Okay.
You should draft quarterbacks as often as possible.
I was thinking he was a second rounder, and I was like, wait a second.
I think you're thinking of Deshaun Kaiser, who eventually wound up in Green Bay.
Okay.
He was a second or third round pick.
Because I'm like, is this guy drafting second round quarterbacks with Aaron Rodgers sitting there? Like,
you should draft a quarterback as often as possible, just because you never know when you're going to find a Dak or a Brady or I can think of other examples that aren't quite as famous, but
Romo. I mean, what?
Use the pick that you just got for Cole Beasley. If you
watched Tony Romo's Football Life last night.
How was that?
It was good. It was the second time I'd seen it. It was interesting. It's good.
A lot going on that front too. Peyton Manning switching it up.
My man Tone is making $1 million less per year to talk about football than he was making to play quarterback. So
he's so good at it.
Please, all of you who want him to be the OC of the Cowboys, please stop.
Yeah, that's not.
First of all,
realize NFL OCs make like what, $2 million a year? So you're taking like an 80% pay cut for a way more stressful job where nobody likes you.
And he wouldn't be that. He's always said he would be a defensive coordinator.
True.
Romo would be a defensive coordinator, but not happening.
And not like.
What's the golf game like for defensive coordinators?
Not good.
No.
Tony Romo was also like the most hated man in the league because when you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, you always are. And now like everybody loves him.
Yeah.
So like he's just literally got
He can
everything.
do no wrong in the booth.
Aikman?
What about him?
You love Romo?
Does Aikman love Romo?
Yeah.
Aikman probably doesn't care. He's Aikman's so established and he's like, whatever, I'm going to do my thing.
Maybe we should have stopped when you wanted
to. No, we're free flowing right now. We're just riffing.
We are.
That's good.
But
All right.
It's noon now.
Time for lunch.
45 seconds to go by this time next week, next Wednesday.
That's going to be a tough show.
With you guys, with Derek. It's going to be a crazy show.
That's the day free agency opens, isn't it? Yay. We should push that back a little bit.
Afternoon show?
We should.
One of the 2 contracts will be done, probably Cooper.
I think Amari Cooper will be locked up by the time we come back. I hope that doesn't.
Cowboy for life.
I hope that ages well.
We'll visit it next Wednesday.
I think they signed Cooper. They signed Randall Cobb. They signed Robert Quinn and LP Lattiser. Those are my guys.
All before we come back?
No.
Okay.
No, I just think those are the first. And Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown, LP, Robert Quinn, Amari Cooper, and Randall Cobb are the 5 that I think will be signed. The most significant 5.
I think that's very true. I just don't know if all that'll happen by the next time we do the break.
No, probably not.
If it does, your show's taken care of. Derek will be back next week. We're headed to lunch. Thanks for tuning in to The Break.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?